Okay, so the recording is now in progress. And we will start right on time. Now everyone have the agenda?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
But that's okay.
Okay, well, I have the agenda. So
Tori,
we're
do
gonna
you
call
want
the
me to
meeting.
share the screen, the agenda on the screen as my last little duty before I go finish dinner?
You can for a moment, for a second, so they can get a glance of what's going on here.
Right.
It's the same format as every month, just a different presenter.
Right. So can you guys see the agenda?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
perfect. So 7. We may get started a little before, depending on our round discussion, our hot topics. What's going on now? Okay, Laura, that's fine. Everyone good?
Okay. I'm stopping the screen share.
Okay,
Going to dinner. I'll be nearby.
okay,
Enjoy.
Enjoy it.
enjoy. I took a couple of bites. Okay, so the meeting's called to order at 6:31. Hugh? Who's taking those? Hugh?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Any public comment, Jesus?
No, I'm just here to see if, just learn about more about what's going on with the unhoused and, see if I can help and participate.
Yeah, we can always use some help. Always. Well, that's good. What neighborhood?
Harvard Heights.
Harvard Heights? Okay. Okay. Wonderful. And then there's no public comments. We'll go into round robin and see what the hot topics are. Lately, I've been looking at the amount of money they are, speaking of spending now, on the governor anticipates a $12 billion plan, and it says to tackle unacceptable homelessness crisis. So we'll see what happens. But I was looking at how many people they actually house in Project Room Key. They said, am I going a little fast here?
No, go ahead.
Okay, because I can give you these numbers later. Either way, from the last 10 years, well, what they're trying to say is that now we only have 61,000, but 2019 was 108,000. And then between, 2018, 89,000, well, close to 90,000. 2017 was 92,000. 2016, 78,000. 15, 73,000. 2014, 71,000. It pretty much stayed consistent. You don't see it going, fluctuating either way. 2013, it says 73,000. 2012, 74,000. 2011, 74,000. 2010, 72,000. So now we supposedly at 61,000? No.
There are more homeless people than I've ever seen before.
Exactly. So then I was looking at something else that was talking about, yes.
Is this 61,000 they're talking about for the state or for the city of Los Angeles?
The 61,000?
Yeah.
That
It's County
was
of Los
for
Angeles.
California. That's yeah, you saying Los Angeles, Dorit?
It's County of LA, excuse me, County of Los Angeles.
County of Los Angeles. Well, this one says the largest concentration of homelessness is in Los Angeles, where Mayor Garcetti last month vowed to spend nearly $1 billion to move some of the 61,000 homeless people in the Los Angeles County off the street. So that's just Los Angeles County.
And so the 108,000 number you gave, was that also 2,000?
Now that one is from HUD, and the official last count Well, actually, right now is it says 151,278 are homeless in California overall, using the US Department of HUD. And it said that's been the highest since 2007. So I didn't go back that far, but I went to back 10 years. So that's what they're trying to say now. So I don't know how we're gonna ever conquer all of this, but it's so much going on right now. But 151,000 in California overall, but with California, Los Angeles County still being at 61,000. I don't know. Last homeless count we did, it was what, 70, about 70 something thousand. We didn't do 2020. They did a count, but it wasn't our normal process in 2020. So last count we did actually go out and count was 2019. And they're saying there's 108,432, and that wasn't the same number we had from LAHSA. So I don't know how they're comparing these numbers. It's not apples to apples, because you can't be off that many thousand people.
Mhm.
I mean, from 108 to like 80 something. No. So we got to figure out how they are counting and who's reporting what, when, where, how, and what the process is to actually get to these numbers, because it's not quite making sense. But it shows they're doing some progress with the hotel room key. Hopefully, but it's not consistent, because I placed a couple of people in hotel room key, and they intermittently got displaced back into their car. And then they finally got back. Hi, Paula. They finally got back into another hotel because we persisted in having some of the officials get involved with making that happen. But just think about the people who don't have advocates, who don't know who to call, which way to go, and how to get any help at all, because the systems are deterring them. So you can have one organization help them this week and another organization, but they're really not getting them indoors. So we have to figure out everybody. That's why I said, Jesus, everybody can help with this process. So with the presentation tonight that Dorit is going to provide us, you'll get a chance to get the actual information, where if you run across somebody you feel needs help, then you can put them in the system and call and put them just like everybody else. Okay, so that's the important part that we can help with. To just, if we help one person a day, one person a week, at least that's one person that's not sleeping on the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
We have a young lady, I stopped by and talked to her right there in Washington and Gramercy. Washington and Gramercy, where they're building the new units. There's a young lady right there, and I was like, she had a lot of stuff. And I said, this is nice. And she said, I came here with nothing. She said, people keep giving me stuff. She said, they keep giving it to me. They keep giving it to me, and I have nowhere to put it. I said, well, I told her where she could go and get placement the same day. But I still passed by there today, and I see she's still right there. So I'm going to check probably on the weekend and see if she actually went to the place, because I sent another gentleman to the agency where if you go early in the morning, they get placement the same day. And so he has his own place now. So he went through the process, and he has his own little cute place. I haven't stopped to go inside or anything, but I went by to see. It's a duplex, and it's really nice from the outside. So, because I dropped some suits and stuff off, some clothes off that could be used. So that was good. So we had these little success stories along the way, but we are only 5 people. Yes, Jesus.
So forgive my ignorance, because I don't know. When you place them in a motel room, you said?
Hotel room, Project Room Key, you hear on the news?
Okay. So how long can they stay?
Well, because it was a pandemic, I guess it depends on the agencies that's helping them. But during the pandemic, they were staying like, oh, I'm trying to think. I went to one of the intakes to watch the process. They stayed at least 8 to 9 months. But see, while they're there, those 8 to 9 months, somebody's supposed to be working on their permanent housing.
Okay.
That's what's supposed to be happening. But this one person in particular I was tracking, she was sent from that hotel that they did the initial intake. Then they sent her somewhere else. And then they sent her to Norwalk. And then they sent her somewhere else. And then she ended up back in her car. I'm like, oh my God. So then I had to call one of the city officials and say, look, he's supposed to be part of Project Room Key. Project Room Key is supposed to be consistent until you guys find them a place. But then sometimes they just only promise them till September. But in the process, if you're not working on finding them a place, they won't be in the same predicament they were in before. So it was a lot of different things going on, but that was the goal.
Okay.
To find them a permanent housing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good program because all along I was like, what about all these hotels? They look empty to me. So why we can't use them? So finally they started actually using it because a couple of people, we put in a hotel ourselves. And you helped me with one lady. We ended up putting her in the hospital, but it just worked out because she had really good insurance and they helped her and they kept her and they put her in step down and subacute units. So there was some consistency there, but I don't know. I try to track them, but there's a lot that you cannot track all the time.
My husband brought up we have so many empty units, that are not rented, that the owners are holding out for, and there's all this talk about sticking all the homeless in one building, and no one really wants that, right? So it's just like Section 8 housing, why can't it be that the government pays for if you own an apartment building, you give one unit so that it's, all normal people that are there, and then there's an unhoused family or individual that takes one unit in this building and then takes one unit in that building. Instead of trying to, because then the community gets scared, right? If you're like, oh, this is a whole building of unhoused people, and then, and there's also then that peer pressure of everyone's taking care of their things in this apartment building, so you need to do the same.
There's been many okay, for one, I'm going to break down a few things. Okay. A lot of the bigger agencies and bigger landlords, and there's majority of landlords are small mom and pop landlords, but the bigger ones don't like the idea of being told what to do, and they've got lawyers, they've got advocates, they can fight it.
Got it.
Downtown LA, there's these buildings on Sunset and Figueroa. They look like fake Italian building things. That guy has fought so hard and so long to make sure that he does not have to even set aside money for affordable housing, because the laws say you're supposed to have affordable housing if you have a big unit. The law says you're supposed to give money to have affordable housing built. He fought it. That Caruso guy as well fought it like crazy. The guy who built those malls.
Yeah.
Taking Section 8 is, and I take Section 8. I worked in homeless services for 30 years, and now I'm a affordable housing provider, which means I'm a landlady and I take Section 8.
Okay.
It's not easy. If you're just a regular Joe, it's harder than doing major tax returns, because there's so much paperwork involved and so much it's bureaucracy. Luckily, I have a master's degree in public administration, which means I have a master's in bureaucracy. So I can deal with it and I can handle it. But it's really intimidating,
Okay.
seriously intimidating, especially if you're like a senior or somebody who didn't buy your property until you were in retirement. It's a lot of paperwork. So taking Section 8 is extraordinarily difficult.
Okay.
There is some agencies, not just Section 8, but there's county vouchers. They're like Section 8, but they're issued by the County of LA. They're the Department of Health Services for people who have chronic health conditions and who have been homeless for at least a year. Those are much easier it's called Housing for Health. Those are much easier vouchers to take. Back to what you were saying though, and that our city council members don't have backbones. Straight out, don't have backbones. In front of the city council, maybe right before the election, there was a motion to have vacancy tax, which means if you own an apartment building and you have a unit that's vacant without legitimate reason, it's not vacant because someone moved out and you're cleaning it up so someone move in. It's vacant for more than 90 days and you're not doing some major repair or something, which you can prove, you would have to pay a vacancy tax. That money for the vacancy tax would be not cheap. So it'd be kind of an incentive for you to rent it. Well, it failed. Well, it got postponed. The city council said, okay, we're going to vote on it a year from now. And that was a little bit before the election.
Okay.
What you're saying makes a lot of sense, and to be super duper great, the city of LA and the residents of the city of LA have to convince our office holders that's a good idea by knowing what they're doing and letting them know that we don't really dig this. And we want big landlords to be sanctioned if they're holding units vacant because they're waiting for it to go up. There is a whole mess of luxury units. I'm sorry, I've got way too much information. I don't watch enough TV and I don't follow any sports teams. I've got way too much information. Vacancy rate in luxury buildings, this is pre-pandemic, was 42%. That means they could have been owned by somebody, the luxury units, or they could have been rented by somebody, but that somebody isn't using it. They're leaving it vacant.
Yep. That's what my husband was saying.
Yeah.
But you're not going to find that many vacancies in Boyle Heights or South LA. This is in, that fancy part of downtown LA.
So pre-pandemic. Now post-pandemic, the vacancy rate is still, it may be a little higher because they're steady building.
People moved out, yeah, and people moved
What
out.
about the ones that are not complete yet, like on Gramercy in Washington? There's 2 buildings there. Then you have Exposition. They just built about 8 buildings. Remember that project that came to us about a year and a half ago? It exists now, and it's about 8 buildings. It doesn't look like what they showed us on the plans, and that's what we keep having to be aware of. They show us one set of plans, but then it ends up being something else. But if you go down Exposition, you really can't see them unless you're looking for them, because they're back in the little, you know how West Angeles Family Center is in the back column when you're driving down Jefferson? Those units are like that. You have to look and see them as you go along. And then you'll see the front when you get on one of the avenues. So I think it's 7th Avenue. But it's interesting. So they have a lot more buildings that have been built since within the time frame of the pandemic, that I would anticipate the vacancy rate is higher than 42% now. So, and Hollywood is really building a lot of units.
And what happened to the money that we've thrown? Like, we always vote to yeah, go ahead, tax us higher so we can help the homeless and the unhoused. Yes, go ahead. But it's like, how much longer are we all going to do that? Because where is that money going?
Right. Laura, go ahead. Laura?
Well, hi, thank you. The good news is an HHH project has just finished construction and tenants are moving in starting in about 2 weeks on Washington at Gramercy, the Gramercy apartment.
That one?
Great.
And half, there's 64 units. 2 are for on-site managers. So then I'm losing my math, but 31 are for seniors affordable and the other 31 are for homeless seniors. So it's a fully
Really?
65 and up building. At least half of the units are going to homeless seniors. It may be more, but not less. But they arrive from two different methods of applying for rent.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you, which two agencies are they going through?
You know, the half that's regular, for lack of a better phrase, regular senior affordable, they had to fill out applications. They were due December 1. You probably remember this. We actually promoted it on the website, UNNC website. We sent it out.
Yeah.
And the operator is Hollywood Community Housing, and they came to early November, the Planning and Zoning Committee, and did a presentation. So half of them are, however one fills out the applications and then lottery, I suppose. The other half is through the system I think you guys work with, the placement.
Yeah, the HMIS system.
But I don't know which SPA.
Well, that's pretty good.
It would be, sorry, it would be SPA 6 and SPA 4 because it's right there on the border. Oh, sorry.
Right.
Did I do something wrong? I see Hugh waving. It's SPA 6 and SPA 4 because the borderline is Washington Boulevard, and it's called the Coordinated Entry System.
Right.
And so you have to be senior, and the higher one scores on this Coordinated Entry System, which is a measure of your vulnerability, the faster you actually get services. And it's a 30-page questionnaire, which a case manager will ask lots of different questions about your history, not your history personally, but an unhoused person's history, both when they're homeless and not homeless, as well as health, mental health, and other stuff. So it's the CES that's doing that. And I'll be quiet because Hugh's got his hand up.
Go ahead, Hugh.
So to answer your question, Giza, Controller Galprin put out a report that you need to watch so you will know what the story is actually with the funds that were supposed to have been spent. Basically, what it boils down to is 10,000 apartments were promised to us, less than 500 were built.
Right.
So,
and at the time I wrote that article, there was 10,000 that they were supposed to have. Of course, that shouldn't change. And it was on 228.
The money has not been spent. They haven't done anything about fixing the problem at all, even though the people voted to make it happen. And little to nothing is being done at this point to fix that issue. So I just want to let you know that the real truth is, I mean, I'd love to hear the great news that Laura was talking about, which is good news. At least they got something for somebody.
31.
No, more, there's more than that, because PATH is also building. It's been topped out, meaning that, top of it's built on Montclair, just south of Adams. That PATH is people assisting the homeless. So we in UNNC have helped, we're not opposing any projects, we're supporting them. We've met with all these people, they've done presentations. The one on Washington has won architectural design awards. It is, there were design charrettes and other meetings with the community members. So this has been very collaborative and positive, and there weren't the delays we hear about. I haven't asked how much it's costing per unit. I will say they're gorgeous. I mean, it's like the people who will get to live there are going to live in a really nice building with nice, everything's just nice. And the other thing is, they did build underground parking. They did not skimp on the parking. And now it's proving to be a good thing, because what Sarah Letts is telling me is that a lot of this may not have been true 3 years ago, but now a lot of the homeless people that they're housing, they've been living in their cars. So they actually do have cars and they need a place to park them. Right. So that's interesting, since as we sit right now, the rules have changed and they wouldn't have had to provide any parking. But this building has plentiful parking, and it's going to be a good thing.
And how many units in that one, Laura?
Well, it's 64 units total. So whatever my math. So two are for managers. Half of the
another one.
Well, that's what Giza was talking about. She said at least there's 31 for the homeless. That's what she was saying. But unlike that one we agreed on, that we voted on Crenshaw and, what was it, Crenshaw and Pico with no parking. So I don't even know what's happening with that one, but hopefully we'll start placing more and more this year, between now and next June, hopefully, at least half will be placed somewhere. That'll be 50,000 people. Let's hope this $12 billion that they supposed to place 61,000 people will happen within the next 6 months or so.
I hope so, because you know what? Taxpayers are not going to do that again. If they don't see
I hope
results,
not.
I guarantee you, I talked to lots of people, they are not going to vote for that again.
No. Well, I don't know if it should have been
I
voted
think
for
some
this
people
one,
have
the
to
way
lose
we're
their
going, but
jobs too in this next election.
They all
it,
lose their
it
jobs.
would be interesting to see people take, what'd you say, Hugh?
They all need to lose their jobs.
Or become ambassador to India.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. It is 7 o'clock. Well, we have a couple of more minutes. Any last words about the round robin, current issues and solutions? We should all see. I think there's going to be a lot more action this go around, because if not, I got to turn this one down. If not, we will be right where we are right now. And let's hope we'll all get more active. After this presentation that Dorit's going to give us, we'll have a lot more ammunition to be a little more proactive, to at least get them in the system where we know that they're going to get some assistance, and start trying to monitor the time we do it to the time they get placed. Let's see if we can garner that much trust in them to touch base back with you to say, oh, I got my place, so that's what I've been doing. Say, call me when you get the place, let me know what the time frame is. Okay, Dorit, I have to take this doctor call. Dorit, we will let Paula introduce you right quick. Paula, introduce Dorit, our next presenter, please.
I'm sorry, you asked me?
He wants you to introduce me.
Oh gosh, okay, hang on.
Oh, never mind, I hear you have feedback. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll do it, I won't put you on the spot.
I have my phone on because this thing is cutting out.
Okay, well, our next presenter is from Sila Neighborhood Homeless Coalition, and she's going to do a presentation now to explain to people how they can be more proactive in assisting with the situation to minimize homelessness in Los Angeles County. Dorit, it is our pleasure to have you speak today, and I love to hear from you. Thank you.
Tori, you are
our virtual hand of applause. Thank you.
Tori runs one heck of a meeting, everybody. She's quite the hoot. I really enjoy being around her. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. My name is Dorit. I'm on UNNC, and I'm very happy to be on UNNC, but I'm also one of the co-founders of an organization called Sila Neighborhood Homeless Coalition. Sila stands for Silver Lake, Echo Park, Los Feliz, Atwater, Hollywood. We started in that communities, but we've expanded. Now I'm the lead of the West Adams Pico Union Mid-City chapter of Sila Neighborhood Homeless Coalition. There's a big old thing there about it. Basically, we do engagements twice a month, if not more, going out and talking one-on-one to our unhoused neighbors, letting them know we care about them, letting them know that we're their friends and we're here for them. And when people are ready, we link them to services, depending on who they are and what their needs are. Say if someone's a veteran, we can get the VA. If someone's a senior, there's organizations that help seniors. If someone is a youth, which means under 24 years old, there's agencies for youth. So what we do is we link people to services. Now, if we come across somebody who says, yes, I want some help, we will do something called an LA hop. I'm hoping that we can get you, I'm sure we could send you this PowerPoint so you don't have to take notes so much. But LA Hop is through Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority. It is a computer-based program where you can request help for an individual. So if you are regularly going to your neighborhood coffee shop or to the donut store and you keep seeing the same lady out there and you know that she needs help, and maybe she expresses to you, hey, I need help, I don't, you introduce yourself to her, you start chatting with her, and she tells you that she needs help and no one's helping her. Well, what you can do is you can go on this website and you can request help for her. You can, here's the things you need to do to be able to get someone to come out. You need to say where the person is staying. The corner of Western and Washington, an address if you have it. If you're one of those really smart people, you can get that computer logistic that pings them on a map. They could show on a map where they are. But basically, you give the corner that they're located at. You give a description of the person: African American, male, 5'9", heavy build. You give a description of their tent if you can, or where they're staying. And you have, excuse me, I'm talking very fast because I get extremely nervous. Then you'll be asked for what their vulnerability is or what's going on in their life and why you're asking for help for them. So if this is somebody that you see on a regular basis who is obviously having a mental health crisis, having mental health issues, is maybe always yelling at cars, is maybe going in and out of traffic, you'll just write that down. This person is having mental health issues, is a danger to themselves, interacting with traffic. If you've spoken to this person and they tell you that, say, they're have cancer, maybe they're there's a person that Sila's working with here in the West Adams area who's living in her car and she has dialysis twice a week. Well, that's not cool. Someone should not be on dialysis and living in their car. So we reported that. We did an LA Hop on her, and social workers came out and got her actually into a program, into housing, because someone who's in their car, someone who's having dialysis should not live in their car. Yeah, you just give what their vulnerability or what's going on with them. Tori and I actually came upon a gentleman at the library one day whose foot was basically cut open. And I'm not going to even describe anymore because you all might be eating, but it was seriously gross. Next day, a social worker came out to him. He got put into Project Room Key. That was less than a year later, he's in housing. That's pretty quick. So, and now I'm going off on stories. But basically, you go onto this website. It's through LASA. You go on this website. You can ask for someone to come out and see the person that you're concerned about. It's really better if this person has said they want help. But if someone is so far gone that they can't ask for help, then really you need to take it upon yourself as a concerned person to request help for them. If you're able, it's far more effective if you can get their name, maybe their date of birth, and maybe their phone number. And I know that's asking a lot from somebody, and you may not be comfortable with it, but it does help the social worker come out. Here is the actual form, the LA Hop form. Here is the website. And just basically, you're asked your name, company, organization, and you're doing this as a concerned neighbor. So company, organization, you could just write neighbor, community member. If you want to put, say, the church you're associated with, you'll be asked for your email and your phone number. The first time you use the system, you're going to get an email confirming that you are you, to make sure that you are the person who's making it, and you're not saying that you actually work for a government office and then trying to, because if you work for a city council's office and the city council's office makes a request, it actually gets taken care of faster. So some people have gone around the system and said, oh, I am from CD5, and put in a name for someone from CD5. So that's why they had to double check this. Number 2 here, this is where you give the address of the person or the location. Like I said, there's some really smart people who can go online and get a little ping on a map and put that into the address bar. I don't know how to do that, but it's easy enough to say, Wilshire and Figueroa, the northeast corner. And then you're going to tell about the person, description, the date you last saw them, how many people. This is not for large encampments, it's for like 1 to 3 people. So say there's a street and there's 4 people, say, in an encampment, you're only concerned about 1 person, but you want to say that there's 4 people. You're concerned about all of them because you're human and you're a good person, but you're especially concerned about one of them. So you'll say there's 4 people, but there's only this 1 person that you're actually making a report on. And then you just give the physical description and all that. Like I said, you'll do send request. I do strongly recommend that you include your phone number and you give permission for them to call you back. You may or may not get a call back from the engagement worker, from the outreach worker who's going to go talk to this person. If it's in, as I explained before, we're in different spas in the UNNC boundaries. North of Washington is Spa 4, south of Washington is Spa 6. I'm going to tell you, if you're doing a report on someone south of Washington, you're probably going to get a call from a gentleman named Jonathan. He is the outreach worker for an agency called Hopics. I adore this guy. He's really cool, really down to earth, and he will call you back and he will let you know as much as he's allowed to HIPAA-wise how people are doing. So if you're doing it south of Washington, yay. But if you do get the phone call from somebody, what I suggest you do is you say, hey, can I put your phone number in my phone? Can I keep your phone number? And if they say yes, do it. Put it in your phone, say, Jonathan from Hopics. So next time you see someone who might be unhoused, as long as it's during normal business hours, don't call the guy at 4 a.m. You can call him and let him know that there's this person out there who's in need of help. And even if they say don't keep their phone number, keep it. Put it in your phone. What are they going to do? Come sue you? This is an outreach worker who's overworked, underpaid, and is stressed all the time. But you know what? They're doing it because they have a passion for it and they love their job. And I was that person for many years when I was younger, so I know what it's like. And you want to help everybody. So they're not going to really get too mad at you if you keep their phone number. I need to tell you other things. You will get an email back from LASA, the agency that runs LA Hop, letting you know that either somebody went out to go see this person or that they made 3 attempts and they were not able to make contact with this person. Even if they did see the person, the email you get back is not going to tell you what the results were because of HIPAA and just because a person has a right to privacy. But if you've got the outreacher's phone number, you could maybe follow up on your own, but I'm not telling you to do that, but you could do that, and I do it all the time. And I want to also let you know, LA Hop will not lead to someone immediately leaving the streets. It won't lead to someone leaving the streets right away, not all the time. It can, if the person is open to it and not already working with a service provider, lead to that person getting services on the street. Majority of people who are unhoused, who are living on our streets, are working with somebody. They're working with a case manager. They're working with LASA. LASA is the Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority. They're the big umbrella of all the outreach teams and all the service providers in Los Angeles. And there's the service providers here in this community will be Hopics, will be People Assisting the Homeless, will be Homeless Healthcare Los Angeles, will be Department of Mental Health, Department of Health Services, and the VA. So these are all and Project 180. These are all agencies that come to our community and do engagement and are working with people. They're working with people who are still on the streets, trying to get them into rehab, trying to get their documents ready, which means helping them retrieve their birth certificate, helping them retrieve an ID card, a social security card, getting all these documents they need to get into housing eventually, getting them on all the different housing lists. So when an opening comes up, they'll have everything they need to get into housing, helping them get the health care that they need, helping them get the mental health care. Regrettably, we just don't have enough units, so not everyone can get off the street. We're working very hard to get people off the street, but regrettably, as we said, we just don't have enough units. Project HHH, more units will come down the line this year and next year, but right now they're not here. Shelters, We have two really good shelters here in CD10. One is behind the former CD10 office building over there on Washington, the Western, and I don't know what the cross street is there, but cross the street from McDonald's. There's a shelter back there, a women's shelter. It's really, really nice. There's a shelter left on Wilshire Boulevard near Lafayette Park, beautiful shelter. But because we're still in a COVID-19 situation, those shelters are only half full because people have to be spread out. But even having those great shelters and even having other programs, a Project Room Key and all that, there's still not enough units for everyone to be housed. And also we come across people for whatever reason, and I'm not going to go into why people choose not to go into shelter, but some people choose not to go into shelter for many, many reasons. They've had a bad experience. They can't be around other people. They're a couple and shelters separate you by gender. They can bring, although all shelters are required to take pets, not all shelters make it friendly, and not all shelters make it easy to bring your pet in. And maybe your pet is a mouse and someone else at the shelter has a pet cat. Well, you don't want your mouse hanging around with that cat. So it's, there's a lot of reasons people choose not to go in shelters. And if you speak to folks, you will hear the reasons. There's some reasons people chose not to go into Project Room Key because of the curfew they had, and some other reasons that people didn't care for. All right, I've kind of gone off my script here just because I get extremely nervous when I speak. If you want to be part of knowing more about what's going on, there is the Mid-City Homeless Hub. It covers everywhere with a SPA 4, it covers everywhere north of Washington. If you want to be if you want to go to those meetings, there's on this PowerPoint here is Josh Huffman. You can contact Josh. He works for the center in Hollywood, but he covers our area. That's a Zoom meeting the third Wednesday of the month from 1:30 to 2:30. Everyone who wants to come is welcome. You just got to get in touch with Josh so he can send you the link to it. We don't talk about clients. We don't talk about people who are on the street because of HIPAA reasons, but we talk about different programs. Josh will let you know what's going on. Service providers come to that meeting. Community members come to that meeting. It's a great meeting if you're able to go midday on a Wednesday. It's a great meeting to go to just to hear what's going on and to know what new programs are coming down the line. So you can try to help people that you know who are on the street access them. And I have these nifty little things they're the brochures for different, what we call hubs. Each area is divided up into what is called a SPA or a hub for service providers that get together. This one is SPA 6. SPA 6 is south of Washington, and SPA 4, as I said, is north of Washington. Sila paid for these being printed. I've got a whole mess of them. Regrettably, I can't hand them to you through the computer, but I'm more than happy if there is a way that I could give them to each of you. I mean, I could walk to Hugh's house, so I could hand him some. I see Paul every once in a while, so I could definitely get you guys some of these. And if there's other people you want to get them out to, let me know. My email is on this PowerPoint. It's dorit@silanhc.org. So feel free to contact me. I will walk over to your house, and I will, Paula's a little bit farther. I'll drive to Paula's house and to Tori's house, and I will drop these off as many as I have that I can give to you. So you could have them for yourself. They just talk about who the service providers are in this area, when the hub meetings are. It gives a little map so you know if, say, you leave UNNC area and you're now in MacArthur Park, who the service provider for MacArthur Park is, how to get in touch with them, how to help people get services. So I'm more than happy to get these to people. I could also send the link to Tori, but to printing them out when they're double-sided is always such a pain in the butt.
Right.
People ask me questions because otherwise I'm just going to ramble.
I'll take some of those to read. I'll get some of the SPA 6 ones this week before Sunday, if possible.
Before Sunday, so you mean tomorrow? It's Thursday now.
Tomorrow, Saturday.
Will you do me a favor and text me, like, do you want me to just leave my front porch tonight and you'll pick them up? I'll leave them in the front porch tomorrow and you'll pick them up tomorrow or Saturday?
Yeah, that's fine.
Text me the night before you want to get them and I'll leave my front porch, okay?
Okay, okay.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
And just
Okay.
spa 6 for you?
What's the other one, 4?
Well, spa
five.
6 is all of South LA.
No, I know that. What's the other one you have, 4 or 5?
4, I don't touch 5. 5 is the
Yeah.
beach. I don't go down there.
Yeah, you can give me a few in 5, that'll be good. About,
Okay, so-
yeah, 10 or so, 10 or so.
Don't know if I have 10 left, but I'll make sure I get you some, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
People ask me,
Anyways, wonderful presentation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now, any questions for Dorit?
please ask me questions. Jisa? I hope I pronounced that right. Oh, you're clapping here, okay.
Sorry, I was clapping.
What's your name for
We
me?
put
I think I
up
got it wrong. Is it
We
Jisa?
put up our
It is.
Zoom clap.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jisa, I know that you're new to our committee, I believe, right? I don't think I've seen you on the committee before.
I've
No,
never
she's not on committee, she's visiting us, but she can be on the committee.
So I know that you said you're interested in helping on house folks. Is there other questions I can answer for you or that we could answer for you of how to help folks or what to do in different situations?
Not at this point. I think I guess that I only have one question. I haven't walked by there in a while, but there was a family living, so a family of, I think, 5, mom, dad, and 3 children, younger children, living out of a school bus.
Oh, yeah.
By the cemetery?
Say that again.
Was it by the cemetery?
No, when I saw them, they were, I think, on Westmoreland, either Westmoreland or Hobart.
Westmoreland and Western.
Yes. So,
Washington.
Was that
Westmoreland,
black man?
yeah, I think you're right. It's Washington.
Washington.
For a family, just call 211. Families are a lot easier to help when the family
Yeah,
trusts the system. And it's very hard to trust the system if you've ever been burned. And when you have kids, the biggest fear that everyone here is probably a parent. So the biggest fear you have when you have kids is someone's going to take them away from you. So a lot of times you just don't even reach out for help because you would die before you'd let someone take your kids.
Yeah.
But for a family, call 211. 211 is the county helpline type of thing. It's like 911, but not for emergencies. Any homeless family is eligible for a hotel stay, is eligible for a whole bunch of services through the welfare office. Only folks who are in that family who are US citizens or documented are eligible for the help. That sucks. That seriously sucks, but that's just the way it is. And those are also families that go
So
ahead.
if the parents are undocumented, then they are not eligible, but the kids are?
Yes. Like for Medi-Cal and welfare benefits and food stamps, you can get food you can get food stamps, yeah.
But they could still have the hotel and the housing.
Yes, they just can't get services for the parents. They can't get the money that would be attached to the parents.
Got it.
It's a little scary though. And if you know this family,
I don't.
okay.
I've just walked by and I've seen them.
There is a whole bunch of families I have come across in the RVs by the cemetery, under the freeway, at Budlong. There's a whole mess of families, and I don't blame them for not wanting to be in shelters, because who wants to get separated from your spouse?
Right.
So there's a lot of reasons why they don't wish to be. But if you see a family and you know they're unhoused, you can call 211. But if the family isn't willing to want to get services right now, it doesn't help very much. I really strongly recommend don't call the cops.
Right. Yeah, I think we kind of all see that now, right? But so before calling 211, I should really reach out and talk to them about it and see if they want help.
Hey, you could just ask the mom or the dad, but so much easier seems to talk to moms and say, you know, if you can call 211, they might be able to help you. And she might tell you straight out, I've spoken to them, I've gone through all the different programs, and there's still not housing out there. They may be in the school bus so the family can stick together. I don't know the situation. I'm having trouble even picturing where that is. Westmoreland and Washington, you said, Hugh?
Yeah,
I
Just one
thought
block.
you said Western, you said Western.
No, I was wrong. It's
Washington.
corner of Westmoreland and, God,
Washington.
it's one block west of Hobart.
Yeah, this is Laura. That's Westmoreland, right by the church on one side and the Ray Charles on the other.
Yeah, the Korean church.
Oh, right there, okay.
Okay.
But okay, so
the other two streets I thought went straight. Okay.
so if they say they've called and they haven't been able to get housing, then do I do LA Hop?
No, LA Hop's only for single individuals. It's not for children.
Okay.
The Family Solution Center is what 211 will hook the family up with what's called the Family Solution Center, which helps families. There are far more resources out there for families. A lot of the buildings, though, for like permanent housing are in the valley, San Fernando Valley. And if, say, this family is from here, from this part of town, the kids may be going to school here.
Right.
The dad might work around here. The mom might have her doctor here. So I don't know about you, but I would not schlep from San Fernando Valley to Mid-City. I wouldn't do it, just wouldn't. So there may be reasons they're here, but it definitely wouldn't hurt if you can just let the parents know about calling 211. Like I said, they may tell you they've already tried, but you could at least try.
And there's someone who speaks Spanish?
Oh, yes. There's someone who speaks a whole mess of the different languages.
Okay.
Which is very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
About 54
You guys,
different
thank you for,
languages.
like, I didn't know anything, so thank you for giving me all this information.
My email is there. Feel free to contact me if you have any concerns, or I don't know, you're my neighbor, so I might see you down the street anyway, you know, when I go to Tacos Loco, because we're in the next community to each other. So yeah, feel free to reach out or holler. And it's same with Tori. She has a UNNC address, and she's also, I mean, she's seriously knowledgeable and much more entertaining than me. So she is. She runs a very fun meeting. And she's a hoot.
I want to know.
May I have your email as well?
Yes, it's Tori, Tori. Justice, Justice, Bailey, Bailey,
okay,
at UNNC.org.
At UNC.org, you said?
UNN. Yeah, UNNC.
Okay.
.org. Now, I saw Laura pop on and she had a question.
I'm back. I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Is Dorit still here?
Okay. Yeah,
I'm here, sweetie. I'll get rid of my share screen, I think. I knew how. Go ahead, Laura, ask questions.
So do any of the outreach workers work at 10, 11, 12 at night?
No, they do not.
So here's the thing that's, I mean, you guys know I don't take care of myself. My health is bad, as it were. No, my health isn't bad, but it's gonna be bad if I don't start taking care of myself, because I work until 10 o'clock at night. Then I go to anything that's open to see if I can buy food. So maybe 9 o'clock at night. But the point is, if you go over by that Food for Less shopping center or the one across the street, there's now a couple of people who've been there both sides for 2-3 years. There's a young, I think he's probably Latino gentleman who everybody knows. I mean, he talks to the folks at CVS, he walks into Panda Express, he goes to the Subway, you know, the Winchells, and he often sleeps in the ATM room for the Bank of America. And you just step over him and use the ATM. And then also there's now, I think she might be Korean American, but you know, somebody who's clearly, she's wearing high heels. She's carrying around a lot of laundry bags. And this is late at night in these shopping centers. I don't know really where she might live. I mean, meaning I don't think she's sleeping in the ATM room at the Bank of America ATM. Is there any way to help to have that outreach workers would even see these people? And the man is not, I mean, he knows everybody. He's polite. He chats. He chit chats out in front of the wing stop, but he is homeless, and that's for darn sure. So,
Well, Laura, you see, you've made contact with a gentleman, and I'm assuming he's speaking a language that you guys speak a mutual same language.
correct.
Can I just suggest you say, you know, are you getting help? Are you okay? You know, do you want me to have an outreach worker come talk to you? And if he says yes, and if you can get his name, first name, you know, Alex, Bobby, whatever. And most folks have a cell phone because cell phones are free if you're under a certain income. If you can get a cell phone number, or you could just ask him, you know, I could have an outreach worker come talk to you. If he's open for it, you take down his information, which would be where he stays during the day, his first name if you can get it, last name would be super duper great, but first name if you can get it, and his cell phone number, or just where he hangs out during the day. You could do that LA hop.
Right.
And if this is, I know it's an uncomfortable conversation, but Laura, you're not afraid of talking.
Yeah,
but
you know what I'm afraid of right now? Right now, we pleasantly greet each other. And I'll be honest with you, a couple weeks back when he was truly just fast asleep in that ATM room, I dropped one of the $20 bills I had just pulled out of the machine and just surreptitiously dropped it in his bag, which is probably stupid, but or it was a good deed. Or both, stupid and a good deed. But I want to be able to maintain, you know, in other words, I also worry that if I step too far, then I would have no ability to be friendly with him in the future. So, you know, I don't, because I just don't know the situation. With the woman, I can tell she's really
out there.
Completely different situation.
So for the lady, I really suggest you do an LA hop and you just explain everything you just explained to me. Explain that she's there at night. She might be eligible for a Department of Mental Health Services, Department of Health Services. They do have around the clock. Just the regular outreach work is like from PATH and from the people concerned. They don't have nighttime, but the county, Department of Health Service, Department of Mental Health, Department of Public Health have outreach workers at different times of the day. So Laura, it's not going to hurt to do an LA hop. Now, of course, you're not going to ask that lady her name. She's, I'm guessing, not very approachable. But you just say where you see her on a regular basis, the Food for Less parking lot at the corner of whatever street that is in Washington and Western. And you give a description of her, wears high heels, about 5'5" or whatever it is, and try it. Just give it a try. And then do me a favor. You'll get an email back from LA Hop saying that they're going to go, you know, a outreach worker will go see them. Send me that you get back, and I'm going to send it to Josh from the Mid-City Hub, who can make sure that someone actually gets a hold of it, that gets the LA Hop request and moves forward with it, because she sounds like she's really in need of help. The dude in the ATM, I don't know. You haven't given me a reason that makes me think that he's.
No, I think he just needs there.
Okay, so yeah. For the lady though, send that to me, okay?
Okay.
Send me the email you get back, if you don't mind. If you're not comfortable, then don't do it.
Well,
I hope that helps.
I was gonna tell Laura, just make it simple for the mail. Just say, are you interested in housing? Just interested, are you interested? That's it.
Okay.
Keep it short. and then let us know and we'll take it from there. Yeah, that's what everybody could help with. Just ask, are you interested in housing? Get the telephone number and name, let us know, and we'll take it from there. Or
All right.
just let us know where they are, whether you have their name or not, and we'll take it from there.
Lisa,
Okay,
did you have,
Giza?
oh, sorry.
Giza? You have to unmute.
I do have another question, just piggybacking on Laura's question. So if someone has a mental disability, there is, because when we got rid of all the institutions, which had major problems, I thought there was no place for people who had mental issues to go. There are places.
I might actually have Hugh talk about this because but I'll say a few things. No one can be forced to get treatment if they don't wish to, unless they're so far gone. There's actually housing out there for people who are, there's a group called ACOF, a community of friends. They do housing for formerly homeless individuals with mental health issues. There are housing set aside just for people who are clients of Department of Mental Health or a Department of Mental Health funded program. And I want to, since Hugh was smiling, and this is actually his industry, mental health, I don't know if he wants to speak or not on helping people who may not want help or how the whole system is screwed up or dysfunctional.
Okay, so you're absolutely correct. A few decades ago, they threw everyone out onto the streets. At the time, they were supposed to provide care or follow-up services. It didn't happen. So as Dorit says, there is housing available if the person is willing to allow themselves to be given the help that is available. Oftentimes, the help that is available is less than appropriate or maybe distasteful to the person for multiple reasons. And we have to remember too, that even if you do get them housed because of their disability, their mental disability, it's difficult for them to remain in that housing because they don't have the capability to do it. They have to have constant help in order to maintain the housing. In other words, they're not going to remember to pay the rent.
Right, and if they don't stay on medicine, they're gonna start acting. I mean, I have a cousin with a mental, with schizophrenia. So,
Exactly.
so for those people, there's nobody that follows up for them. Like,
There are case managers. Lots of people who have mental health problems are handed to case managers. Every one of these case managers has twice, if not 3 or 4 times the amount of patients that they can even reasonably take care of. So it's case management that doesn't really exist.
okay.
We're so far from being able to take care of the population that we have dumped on the street, and no real plan to come up with a solution to that issue. We're nowhere near it.
Mental health is a spectrum. So if you're lucky and you get if a pairing between you and your case manager and your doctor and the med and the pharmaceuticals works, it can be a great fit. It can be. Like say ACOF, a community of friends, some of the buildings are just the most wonderful places to be because people are well. I mean, they have their illness, but their case manager is making sure they take their meds and is really looking after them. So there are some miracles out there and some beautifulness, and it's a population I love working with. But there is so few treatment places. There just isn't. The law that what happened, what he was talking about was look up LPS Act. It was 1968 when we let everyone out. And then there's the history to it. I won't go into it. Once again, I don't watch enough TV, so I have information of things. It would have made sense had the politicians and the advocates listen to the psychiatrists, and the psychiatrists are telling them, look, people won't do this if people are too far gone. They need to have more care. Just there's just a lot of BS around it, and a lot of people who didn't listen to other people. The Judge Carter ruling, he did say, okay, you need to make X number more beds for people who've got mental health issues, even though it's just for Skid Row. The X number of beds, I'm sorry, I've got the Judge Carter Act next to me, but it's 110 pages. I don't know where to look for this. It was like way too few. And even then the county who controls mental health beds is saying, no, we're not going to do it. It's like, they barely ask for 5% of what is needed, and you say you're not going to do it. It really kind of comes down to electing the right people. Now, there's a few people currently on city council, new members who have a passion for helping the unhoused and have an understanding of how to do it. Mark Ridley Thomas is actually pretty darn good. He did some great stuff at the county. And there's other people on the board who are on the council who are good, but there's other people who just don't have a clue.
Is he good? Because my only thing is, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Is Mark good? Because I was attending a Zoom meeting for my neighborhood, Harvard Heights, and his representative said that he couldn't be bothered to come to our meetings. So that turned me off right there.
See, for homelessness, he's good. Okay, so the stuff he did at county, is he a good politician? He's going to run for mayor. Is he? I'm not going to say he's a good leader or politician, but he was really good as a homeless advocate. And the program I talked about, Housing for Health, it really would not have happened without him spearheading it.
Okay.
So in that way, he is good. I'm not going to talk about him as a city council member. There are some other city council members who have a passion for homelessness. Kevin De Leon, Nithya Raman, really great people. But we also have others that are not too awesome. They're just not too awesome. And who actually don't have a really understanding of the effects of trauma, the effects of, unless you've had a family member with a mental illness, a close friend, a spouse, or yourself have had it, it's really hard to understand how devastating and how the human brain can work in different ways. A lot of our council members don't have an understanding of what substance abuse disorders are. Long-term trauma, they can't really comprehend it all. And that's because not that they're bad people, but they've never had to live it. And those are things you really have to know if you're going to work with unhoused folks.
I just want to about Mark Ridley. He is the only person who is proposing the actual answer, which is
pretty much
right to
him
homelessness.
and Mitch O'Farrell wasn't too bad.
But Mark Ridley Thomas is actually proposing a right to homelessness. He's already put it before the city council. He's working on moving it forward. I don't know anything else about the guy. I really don't. But I know that the only answer is what he's proposed. And I'm going to continue supporting him to help him at least get that, if that can get, and it's not going to happen in his term as city council. Maybe after he becomes mayor, and he's worked on it for 8 years, we might get there. But that is the only answer, and at least he's talking about it.
Okay, that's good to know.
The week must have fell off. Oh, there she is.
I'm here. There is noise. The helicopters, my cats are fighting, so and I don't want to subject you all to that.
Oh, that's okay. We're almost, actually it's 7:40 for presentation time, but we can continue because we're not really going to discuss any old business. Our old business is the same business that we've been talking about, is homelessness and the solutions that we need to find and make them happen. So I used to, believe it or not, there was still some mental hospitals, and there still are. They're just such a well-kept secret. One of them I used to help with the DSM's codes and things like that for the diagnosis. So, and then they have one, I used to take my students on tours, believe it or not, of some of these facilities that scared them to death, but but they had to see, what's going on. Don't be fearful of people. Just be observant and see how what they're thinking when you see certain things. I mean, you try not to cause any fear in anyone, including yourself. If you don't have any, it kind of subsides theirs. You know, I just give an example. Speaking of fear, I went to a 7-Eleven somewhere one time, and soon as I turned the corner to get in the car, it was a gun pointed. Most people would think it was pointed at them, but I'm like, I haven't done anything to have a gun pointed at me. But I just looked at the guy's eyes, and I said, he's not even looking at me. Even though he's pointing his gun, he's not looking at me. So he was looking past my shoulder. I just happened to walk back to go around the building where I parked, where I wouldn't normally park, but I did because there was no parking. So when I felt the building to see if I could go back around the corner, I couldn't feel the end, and I didn't want to create any quick movement. So I just slid out of his peripheral vision and turned my back to him like I was invisible. And he started shooting. He started shooting. I was like, oh my God. I could have easily been killed because he could have said, oh, she saw me, pointed, shot me, and did whatever he was doing. So I did not move from that corner until somebody came and got me. But I'm just saying, we cannot have fear in us because it causes fear in others to do irrational things. So don't get close when you talk to people. Don't get really close. Just talk in a normal tone without yelling so they don't think you're afraid to come close. And just ask them, would you like to be housed? Would you like to have a roof over your head? Whichever way you feel comfortable in asking the question. But it takes all of us to ask the question. Otherwise, this is never going to get done. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't want housing. Well, those are the ones they should just leave alone for right now and house the other ones, and let's get the ones that want to be housed. Anybody else? We'll find campground somewhere, like they said, a campground, and just put everybody together, and so they can help one another. Teach them to help one another, because a lot of people don't realize that's what they need to do to survive. So I'm glad you're interested, Giza. We're gonna have to get you on board so you can help with this topic, with some of the solutions that are necessary for all of us to do to make it happen together. And have you guys noticed there's a new encampment on 28th in Crenshaw at the Taco Bell, where the Taco Bell is? Oh my God. I drove by there the other day. I was like, oh boy. So I put them on the list for the sanitation cleanup too. So, and as we go along, let me know if you see encampments that need to be cleaned up. There's a list that they have right now that they're doing the rotations to actually clean up the areas. So just let me know what the cross streets are, and we'll add them on that list. Because I got involved with the police homelessness task force. They can't do anything right now at all, the police, but the sanitation crew can't help with that process. So that's one of the things that we can help with too. Dorit, what do you think about that? Dorit?
It's
a catch-22.
It's a very disturbing and troublesome process for a lot of folks to have cleanups, because they're told, okay, here's 2 trash bags, you can fill them up, you got to move. And it's traumatic. So I'm not a big fan of them. I understand, I know the encampment you're talking about, and I can also tell you more than 75% of those folks have case managers, but regrettably, there's no place for them to go. It's a traumatic thing. It is a very traumatic thing. It'd be seriously great if it'd be more like, hi, how can I help you? How can we work together, and not, here's the truck and here's the trash, here's the big truck, and we're going to throw everything you have away. But sanitation workers aren't social workers. They're not trained for that, you know. I'm not trained to fix a car, you know, so don't ask me to do so. So it's asking sanitation workers to be social workers, and it just really isn't cool. We just need to put
Right.
everyone in fucking housing. We need to build enough housing so everyone could be in housing and we wouldn't have encampments and everything would be great.
Right.
We
Well,
don't
I was
waste money on
thinking,
cleaning up. We need to house people. Sorry,
I
I'm
agree.
cursed.
I'm with you. I sat there and watched them do it in Hollywood one day, and at the same time, I said, okay. I called the mayor's office, sat there and said, so what's happening with the cleanups now? Or where are they putting all of these items? Why are they throwing it in a big garbage truck? And they said, oh no, we put it in a storage bin. I said, so you telling me you take it out of the storage bin, out of the garbage truck, and put it in the storage bin? And they couldn't answer that. They said, I said, I'm watching them right now while I have you on the phone, that they are putting it in the garbage truck, everything they own. What happened to the 72-hour notification? I mean, so they can move or whatever. And what about their medication? And what about this and that and this and that? And they're like, well, no, we put it in the storage. I said, oh, okay. So this is a clean garbage truck, and then you get the stuff out. So, oh, they never could answer that sufficiently enough for me. But I think we need to figure out how to hold everybody accountable for what's happening. So when you see things that don't look right, call immediately. They can't tell me that they didn't do that because I'm sitting there watching them. So we have to be able to do something different. But I was under the impression that those that's on the sanitation team was getting some type of sensitivity training or some type of training on how to treat, what's the process of handling these homeless cleanups. So we need to know what the process is. So maybe that's the next question I'll ask and see if we can get somebody from the sanitation department to come address us next month. And see what happens. So, you know, that's all we can do, to ask the questions of what is actually going on. What's the process? So any other questions or concerns, or what we gonna do different? What we gonna do different this week to help the situation? Paula, any suggestions? Hugh, what can we do different this week than we did before, the week before? Now that we're armed with more knowledge on what to do, what will we do different? I'll take the lady on Washington and Gramercy. Giza could take the family on Washington and Westmoreland. Paula, anybody you need to help around your church or anything, or at home? I know she has that feedback.
Yeah, okay, now I'm talking on my phone.
Oh, that's good.
But I can
that's
see you because I was having a problem. But I think what we're talking about is well, number one, more housing, of course. But the other thing is for us to get involved, for more of us to get involved in helping people, submitting names to get help is definitely a part of the process too, because there are people out there that don't know what to do. There are people out there that became homeless because of COVID, and they're in shock and
depressed,
and they just they don't know what to do. So if we have at least that answer where we can get them in touch with the social worker, that's a part of it. And then what Dorit was talking about on the cleanup, I know sometimes they are not, what do I want to say, courteous. The sanitation workers are sanitation workers. They're just coming out to clean up. And so we're stuck because there was people just popped up on Somerset, right between Obama and Coliseum. They were loud. It was horrible. There's a L.A. Crenshaw discount or 99-cent store on the way to that, as you're going to the parking lot, you see all these people, mainly men. It's really kind of intimidating.
I already went and talked to them.
And the police came through. They cleaned it up. They moved the people, and I know it's. And I was appreciative because I was concerned because it was a lot of men and they were, you know, kind of raunchy. My granddaughter was walking the dog and happened to, you know, pass by this group. But, you know, so I'm saying I'm stuck in between. Yes, I like seeing the cleanup. But then still again, where are the people going? You're just pushing them from one place to another. And so that's not the answer either.
Well,
so you just have to keep working at it one person at a time.
Well, we don't want to be too redundant either. I don't know about the ones on Somerset, but I talked to the ones on the lot behind the 99-cent store just because I was going to 99-cent store one day and the police and the truck and everything was there. And I think I mentioned this before, and one of the guys that was, I ran into right there, he said, "Tori, look, what's going on over there?" And I walked over there and I knew all the police except for one. They introduced me to her too. So what I found out is out of the 5 people or so that was there, one girl had a twin who walked up at the same time, and she explained to me that she is not homeless. She just want to be here with her boyfriend. Boyfriend was crazy. So I was like, oh boy, he had a little issue with the police being there, number one, with female police being there, number 2. And he was just a cursing and a doing and whatever. And so I said, well, she gave me all the information about her sister. And she said her mom said she could come home anytime, but she wouldn't. And so another guy I met, he was trying to get his guard card. He was in school. He just didn't have anywhere to live yet because he didn't have any money. And then the other one was riding around on a bicycle. I don't know, I wrote down every different things. Something was going on with him, but he was interested with somebody helping him. So I did report it to LASA the next day because it was getting kind of late. So now all you can do now, instead of calling them from scratch, let them know that this area has been reported before. What's the status? That's something you can do. Call outreach, call LASA tomorrow, 683-333, you know their telephone number now, 213 area code. Call them, Paula, and ask them what's the status of the people of outreach team going to help the people of Victoria and Crenshaw. I mean, Obama and Victoria. So that's something you can do that's different this week, okay? Okay. And just let us know about that one. Then Giza, you can check with the one on Westmoreland and Washington with that family and see.
Yeah. How often do you guys meet, and can you tell me when you guys meet?
Once a month. On the next one is June 24th. So once a month.
Okay. So always.
But you can call me anytime in between so we can follow up and make sure, you know, that we've done something different within the week.
So you guys always meet on Thursdays once a month, the last.
Correct.
Jisa, if you're ever interested in doing homeless engagement with the other organization I'm part of, we do it every other Sunday. We start in Harvard Heights and go up toward the cemetery. So my email address is,
I've got it.
You got it.
Yeah, feel free to contact me. If you're ever interested in doing it, don't feel pressure because it isn't for everybody. But if you're ever interested, just give me a holler.
I'll
It is time for us to go walking, Dorit.
Well, we got a lot of steps in, didn't we, when we went?
Yeah. But it's time for us to go out again. It's about that time. I want to order some more of those blankets to go over them when it rains, you know. or to keep them warm or cool. That I do want to do that.
It
So
ain't
I
gonna
gotta
rain in
figure
Los
that
Angeles
out with
ever
them.
again.
Huh?
It ain't gonna rain in Los Angeles ever again.
I know. It takes forever. But it keeps them warm, keeps them cool, whichever one throughout the year. And it is reasonable, you know, relatively inexpensive. So, but it is 7:56. And any other last minute statements? We're gonna do something different this week, and hopefully everybody will touch base with me between now and next Friday. We'll give you an extra day. Between now and next Friday. Gisa, my number is 310. Okay.
Tori, wait a sec. What's the number?
I know.
310?
Ready?
310, what?
991 6622.
6622.
So, yes, and Hugh, what would you like to do one thing this week or within the next week or so that could help or be a part of a solution? You're on mute. Oh, let me unmute. There you
Actually, I
go.
have no idea. I'm gonna type up the,
You're gonna look into something about, see how many locked facilities or any mental health facilities actually still exist. Because I know Kaiser still has one. The Kaiser on Sunset closed that one because I did an internship there. And Tarzana Medical Center still exists. These are all the places I used to take students to visit. But when they were locked facilities too, one of them, the one that used to be at Kaiser Sunset was really a locked facility. So I didn't really take students on tour of that one. But
there are several facilities. I mean,
well, yeah,
has-
but what about,
Culver City has
Well,
one
see,
at California Hospital.
pardon me?
In Culver City, Southern California Hospital has a locked facility.
Oh, they do?
Oh yeah, there's
I
some
haven't
bunch
been
of,
over there since they've been Southern California. I know LAC, USC, well, they have that jail and they have a little facility. Well, let me know what you come up with.
I don't
Let me
understand
know.
what
Can you
you,
produce a list?
no, I'm not gonna.
Facilities? No, well, I can find a list.
No, why
But,
do you
okay.
want a list of locked facilities? I don't understand.
No, not like any mental facilities that do intake. Like,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
for
Because a
mental
lot of
health?
people are under the impression that all facilities are closed. They don't think there's any resources out there for when you can do, you know, 5150s and, you know, different things.
So the thing is that if a person is in a mental health crisis,
Okay,
for intake, if they're in a mental health crisis, they can go to any emergency room.
well, yeah,
That's right.
yeah, that's true.
Any emergency room.
Okay, okay, we'll stick with
That
that
emergency
then.
room by law must see them, treat them, and if they're in a mental
And
health
stabilize
crisis,
them.
they have
Yeah,
to be placed from there.
yeah, yeah.
It's not
Okay, so
hard.
any ER.
It's not hard to find a, you know, you don't have to find a proper psych phase to go to. If they're in
Okay.
crisis, they can just go to the emergency room.
Okay, well, let me know if you help anybody this week, Hugh, okay? Just let me know, we'll take it from there. Let's try to get our 2, 3 in a week and help people out. Okay, it's 8 o'clock. And we will officially adjourn the Homelessness Liaison meeting. And I thank you all for attending. And I appreciate you, Laura, as usual. And we'll take it from there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Gisa.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You guys
And
are
I hope
doing
you have
amazing
everybody's
work.
information and we'll keep in touch. Okay, thanks, Paula. Let me know.
Thank you. You know,
Okay,
as
bye-bye.
always, I stay on till everyone goes and then I click end. So I'm
Right,
not being
okay.
rude. Bye,
Okay,
Gisa. I'm gonna
bye-bye.
call you, I think.
Okay, call me.
Please. Okay, bye.